There's something happening in Birmingham, and it's not just a resurgence. It's a revolution. Aston Villa, under the leadership of Unai Emery, has morphed from a mid-table maybe to a top-4 threat. But this isn't just a story of one club overachieving. No. This is the meticulous, methodical, emotionally charged rebuilding of a footballing identity. And it all starts with one man. Unai Emery, the tactician, the obsessive, the architect of modern-day Aston Villa. Let me walk you through the transformation, because once you see what's really happening under the surface, you'll understand why this club isn't just pushing for a Champions League spot. They're redefining what it means to be dangerous in the Premier League. Emery doesn't just coach football, he constructs it. Every training session, every drill, every tactical briefing is like a chapter in a grand tactical novel. His philosophy is built on structure, on understanding space, and on exploiting moments. He doesn't want chaos. He wants control. Not in the way Guardiola demands 80% possession, but in the way a chess master sees 10 moves ahead and knows exactly when to strike. And at Aston Villa, he's found the perfect lab. This team has become a battleground of strategy and structure, fueled by data, driven by discipline, and electrified by belief. Emery starts with his midfield. Always. He builds his teams from the core out. And that means central midfielders who don't just run, but understand tempo. Think Yuri Tielemans. Think Douglas Luiz. These aren't destroyers. They're conductors. Emery instructs them to shift the tempo, draw out the press, and break it not with flair, but with efficiency. And then, when the gap opens, they release the trigger. Now watch how Villa attacks. It's not just pace on the break. It's surgical. They use the width to stretch the pitch, but always funnel it back into zone 14. That sweet spot at the edge of the box where chances are born and defenses collapse. Emery drills this relentlessly. His players know. Cut inside, pull the defenders narrow, and exploit the chaos. Ollie Watkins isn't just a striker. He's the spearhead, the trigger point. His movement off the ball isn't instinctual. It's programmed. He peels off center backs, he drops into the half space, and he presses like his life depends on it. He's Emery's ideal No.9. Unselfish, tactical, relentless. But what makes Aston Villa truly terrifying? It's how they defend. This isn't a passive low block. It's a mid-block with teeth. When Villa doesn't have the ball, they compress. Narrow. Aggressive. The midfield squeezes the passing lanes, the fullbacks sit tight, and the center-backs push high. It's not reactive. It's proactive defense. And then when the moment is right, they pounce. A turnover, and suddenly Villa is countering at lightning speed. But Emery doesn't press recklessly. It's calculated. Every trigger is practiced. Every press is coordinated. One false move and the shape resets. No overcommitting. No chaos. This is structure. Discipline. Football with a surgeon's hand. So how has Emery done it? How do you take a squad built for survival and turn it into one that controls tempo, dictates rhythm, and punches far above its weight? How do you teach belief not as a concept, but as a muscle memory? Let's dig deeper. It starts with player roles. Every single one defined, calibrated, tested in training. John McGinn, for example, he's not just a box-to-box engine anymore. Under Emery, he's evolved. He presses high. He disrupts build-up. And when Villa has the ball, he makes late runs into the box. He's the disruptor. The chaos agent who forces defenders to make decisions they don't want to make. And then there's Pau Torres. Signed not just for his defending, but for his brain. Emery worked with him before, and he knows. This is a centre-back who can break a press with a pass. Villa builds from the back because Emery trusts Torres to find the line-breaking ball. Every single time. But here's where it gets interesting. Villa doesn't just rely on patterns. They adapt. Emery has installed in his players the ability to switch shapes mid-match. 4-2-3-1 becomes 4-4-2 without blinking. Sometimes it's a back five in the last 15 minutes. Tactical flexibility is hardwired. And that's what makes them unpredictable. When you watch Villa, you get the feeling they're always in control, even when they don't have the ball, even when they're under pressure. Because every player knows the plan, the contingencies, the cues. It's drilled, rehearsed, internalized. Villa's strengths? Structure, transitions, pressing intelligence, tactical discipline, and a work rate that chokes opponents. They don't just play football. They execute a blueprint. And yet, there are vulnerabilities. There always are. What happens when Villa's press is bypassed? What if a team dares them to dominate possession and hits them on the break? Villa isn't built for slow, methodical build-ups. Their attack thrives in chaos, not in orchestration. Against a deep low block, they sometimes struggle, especially if Watkins is isolated. And here's the real kicker. They rely heavily on a core group. Tielemans, Luiz, Watkins, Torres. Fatigue, injury, suspension? It disrupts everything. So how do you beat Villa? You drag them into possession they don't want. You deny them transitions. You sit low, stay compact, and force them to think. Because when they're forced to break down a low block, the structure they depend on can become a cage. But even that's easier said than done. Because Emery adapts. Constantly. And this squad? They're believers now. This is a team reborn. A team forged not in flash, but in fire. Villa under Emery isn't a moment. It's a movement. And the Premier League better take notice. Because when tactical genius meets emotional buy-in, when strategy is executed with heart, when discipline becomes second nature, you don't just get a good football team. You get a contender. So watch closely. Study the patterns. Admire the pressing traps. Trace the diagonal runs. But most importantly, feel it. Feel the rhythm of a team that knows exactly who they are. Because Aston Villa, they're not done yet. They're just getting started. And when the dust settles at the end of this season, don't be surprised if it's Villa who's still standing. Not as an underdog, but as a blueprint for the future of modern football.